Well, Judith Troutman is here right now. She chairs the M&C Committee for GRF. They had their meeting yesterday, which was also over at the Performing Arts Center. Good to see you, Judith.
Good morning.
Nice to have you here. So a few things you want to talk about today, and different things from pickleball to fall protection equipment, everything in between.
Yes, as you say, I first want to apologize to anyone who didn't find us yesterday. There were, within 20 minutes of the meeting, there were people still over here at admin looking where the M&C meeting was. So, because
we did announce it.
Yeah, but not everybody looks at the changes. And
correct.
So I was going to get into that. So we were at Clubhouse 3, Dining Room 1, and the meeting lasted from 1 to 4.
Right.
So we talked about a lot of things.
Long meeting, yeah.
And there were 67 people showed up in the room. And so I'm not sure how long we'll be over there because our boardroom will not be completed now until late May.
Okay.
And so that's why you're going to have to look at the schedule. If you don't get the, I guess, Monday memo, you can come in here and sign up and get it on email.
You can.
Or you can go to what we call Team Up. And I don't know if you can see this, but if you go to the Laguna Woods website and you go to residence links,
okay,
and then the sidebar will show boards and committees.
Okay, and then you can find it there.
Yeah, and then it'll say calendar. So look for the calendar, and when you hit on the calendar, you get this electronic calendar that comes up, and the different colors of the different boards. Like GRF is blue. And then this is the M&C meeting. It tells you what room it's in and what time. You can even print this out. And if there was agenda attached, there's an agenda.
You can get
agenda, and even the agenda shows up.
Very good.
So you can get this on your phone as well.
Nice.
For those that have a smartphone. So that's another way to keep track of what everybody's doing. So we had quite a few reports from staff, and we'll start with the pickleball. We have 45 projects right now on the books, and this is sort of what it looks like. Is you get a page like this,
right,
with all of all the projects on it, and so people are there. There's so many people there. Where's our project, and how come this isn't being done? And so we got pretty well caught up, and I think the audience handled themselves really well, and we had to go on to explain that. Especially where pickleball is concerned, which will be my next thing. Unfortunately, because of the transition, we knew there were going to be some hiccups in some of the projects. Right. And up in the maintenance area, we had people come and go, and then we didn't have anybody in charge for a while. And then we got someone in charge, and then she was lacking 2 staff members, and then she left, and then we got somebody else, and they're barely getting their feet wet. And so we finally, which is another reason we brought the meetings to every other month, to give staff a chance to get caught up and get more effective work done. And then also the mutual directors were getting burnt out going to all their committees, plus all the GRF committees. So it's not that everyone's getting a break, they're putting in more quality work when they do have to go to a meeting. So since last July, or June of 2016, M&C had determined that the new pickleball courts would go in Parcel 3, which is on the corner of Moulton and Gate 16. If you see that, that big empty hill there. Yes. So some things have to get in place. We finally gave the staff some final direction. And 2-3 years ago, the board at the time allotted $640,000 for that project. And we believe if we do the watered down version and only have 8 courts, no bathroom to start with, and just do the 8 courts, that we can do it for anywhere from $400,000 to $600,000. And we may still have to go to the corporate board for that. So just, even though the money's already been allocated and it's under $500,000, just for the sake of, I guess, being polite, we'll probably still do that. The problem is, by the time staff gets this report done, it's going to be 90 days before they can return to the M&C meeting, because they're doing, it's a virgin piece of ground. We have to start at the bottom and get the soil testing and engineering done, and the city has to approve it. And so we really apologize to the pickleball folks that this has been taking so long, but they got tied up in the transition.
Okay.
And so that's why that was so delayed, I guess you can say. So then we talked a little bit about Clubhouse 3, and we just touched on it. It's going to be done a little bit different than Clubhouse 2, where we close it down and go in and from start to finish. So the first phase has already been done. They've actually hired a company, CVA, they're architectural engineers, and we've allocated, so that's phase 1. And this way we don't have to close it down completely, and it's sort of like a destructive testing.
Right,
is what they're doing. And hopefully we don't find the damage that we found in Clubhouse 2. So staff is in the process of that. They're going to bring back a full report next meeting when they get one. We've spent just so far $146,000 on all the specs and this engineering report. So some of the things that are wrong is safety issues. We have put aside a total of $728,000 so far to complete the clubhouse, and we're hoping we don't have to spend more than that. And $37,000 was already put aside for the Clubhouse 4 HVAC system. And rather than spend that money on Clubhouse 4, we're thinking of, staff is looking for alternative ways, because maybe fans, like the art room is having a problem. An HVAC system would clog with the, like with the dust and the type of materials they use, would not, would have to have a really expensive type of equipment to keep that room aired out. We also talked about, like I said, the new boardroom. You can go down and peek your head in there. And I brought this last month, but if you want to know everything they're doing, if you go back to your February 9th Globe, there's a really nice list.
Yeah, it was a good article
on the front page. So yeah, they did a wonderful job of listing all the amenities we're going to have on the boardroom. We thought it was only going to cost $200,000, but because the equipment is so updated and so state-of-the-art, it was not going to be compatible with the dais we had in place.
That's right.
We thought we were going to keep the dais. So they came back to the board and asked for another $101,000, and the dais is going to be more of a horseshoe and more functional for meetings. So that, my understanding, has been built off-site and waiting to be brought in. And right now, if you do go in there, the room's gutted out and it's wires hanging everywhere. They're doing all the electrical and the sound system and preparing all the groundwork for bringing that new dais in. So we're looking forward to that, but it will be May, like I said, unfortunately.
All right.
So, and I was going to talk about the garden centers because we discussed that a lot yesterday, but John was just here from Landscape, so I'm going to pass on that.
Okay.
Because I think he told you everything you really needed to know. Another action item we did take was staff has asked, they needed a new piece of equipment. We have a picture I think I sent you.
Yeah, we'll put that up. And I think it's called fall protection equipment. I'm not sure. We'll get up in just a second. And this is something that, tell us about this, but it looks like an older picture, but it's not.
Yeah, I think it's black and white.
Yeah, probably from a newspaper or something. But tell me exactly what it'll be used for.
Well, this, it's, when you're up at the top there, it has special straps for safety that ties you in. And when we got this, it's the reason we're buying it, we haven't purchased it yet, is we're trying to fill the OSHA requirements. Right. Because they have certain laws in place when you're mechanics up there. And it's good for changing light bulbs or getting on the roof and things of that nature. And we want to make sure we don't have any more accidents. Right. As you know, we've had a couple of fatalities. So this piece of equipment, they're going to spend, we authorized $38,000 of the $79,500 that's already been allocated in the capital plan for miscellaneous equipment. So this is already funded. It won't have to go to finance, and it'll just go to the board this next week, and it'll be purchased. I can't imagine why we wouldn't pass this. Yeah, exactly. But this is a compliance guidance from OSHA and for residential construction. And then we will be following code CFR 29 for the state on residential construction work, and they passed that in September of 2011. So we really we're sort of behind on getting our safety equipment up to date.
But it's good that you'll be getting that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very good.
So, and then as far as kitchen appliances at Clubhouse 5, we are going to be replacing some of those appliances, probably the dishwasher for sure. So those that cook at Clubhouse 5, you can look forward to that.
Okay.
And I talked about the new boardroom. The community center, that's this building. It's been on the books for a long time to change the HVAC. If you go into one room, it's warm, the next room's freezing.
I think we know that here.
Yeah. So and the reason people are saying, how come you haven't fixed that yet? You had over a year. Well, because as you know, we put in the new gym. Right. Brought that downstairs, and we're changing the call centers, and plus all the renovation going on in the boardroom. We needed all that done first before we can go and put in place and probably redesign the new HVAC system.
All right, very good.
So that's the only reason that's on hold. The Clubhouse 2 Annex came up briefly. We have no plans for that area. There's a couple of things come up, that old shuffleboard courts that used to be there. We're looking at potential future solar panels in that area, or electric vehicle charging stations, maybe a little park all tied in together, but no decisions have been made yet. People keep asking us, why we haven't completed Clubhouse 2, but that's going to be a separate project, and there's nothing planned at this time. And then the lawn bowling people showed up. So we did get an estimate from staff. That's going to cost between $500,000 and $600,000 to get new courts. And so, as you know, the one court, if you lawn bowl it all or go over there, had to be torn up so they can do their testing and see what the problem was. Right. And we had decided that we were not going to go to litigation because the first contractor installed the courts incorrectly. And then they never did a final test for leveling. And so there's several theories. It just wasn't poured right the first time, or the concrete wasn't poured correctly. And a contractor will tell you if it's not poured directly, after time, the concrete actually crumbles, and loses its integrity, and just becomes like rocks. And that could have caused all the dipping and unlevelness. That's just a theory. Others say no, it was just poured unlevel from the beginning, and others say just the wrong merchandise was used. So we're going to have to go to the board to get money, but before we even do that, we made a motion to direct staff to get the soil testing. It's my understanding they've already had soil testing. That could have been the other problem, that those courts would just put on bad soil. Right, that's true. So they're going to do that before we put new courts down. We want that soil test before we go spending any money and putting new courts down on that. So those are all the action items. And again, I apologize for anybody who missed the meeting because they couldn't find us. But we'll do better next time. All right, and we announced that too. Thank you for coming here and reporting on this. I know you have another meeting to get to, right? I do. So we appreciate it, Judith. You take care, and their next meeting is May 25th. We'll be right back.